The time has come.
Well, with that intro out of the way, everybody, the time has come. Ahsoka Tano has made her live-action debut, finally, after 12 years of being in the Star Wars canon universe. This is huge, guys. What a fantastic day. Yesterday was Thanksgiving. Today is Mandalorian Friday, or many people will say Black Friday, but we're going to talk about Mandalorian. It's Mando Friday. This is the way, guys. May the Force be with us all today. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, for Season 2 of Episode 5 for the Mandalorian review. I'm so excited to talk about this episode in full spoiler details. So make sure, guys, if you guys are new here, and you guys also love the Mandalorian, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so we can keep talking every single week with the Mandalorian, and just in general talking Star Wars, because we're all geeks here. We love to talk the Star Wars. And as well, guys, make sure to comment down below and let me know your guys' thoughts. What were your guys' thoughts on this episode? Do you guys like it? Do you hate it? Let's discuss it all down there. We're gonna have lots of thoughts on this one, especially for people who maybe never experienced Rebels and Clone Wars and maybe don't know who Ahsoka is, maybe who don't know who Grand Admiral Thrawn is, which when that name was said, I jumped up and screamed. You know, I screamed a couple times during this episode, nerdgasmed, as many of us would say, and I absolutely really adored this episode. In fact, this was a very different episode than I expected. I got a little bit of a Luke training, or not Luke training, Yoda training Luke on from Empire Strikes Back. I got a little bit of that vibe between Ahsoka and Grogu, who we now know is Baby Yoda's name, or the child. Grogu is his official name. We're gonna break all that down, guys. So this episode opens up in a fantastic manner, showing Ahsoka just wielding her double lightsabers, which I just got at Downtown Disney. Say in the beginning, I had to flex those off. I loved it. It was totally worth it. Ahsoka is like my favorite Star Wars character of all time. I didn't like her in the beginning. When she was all brought to life, I thought she was cute, but, you know, a little bit forgettable, and she completely won me over. And of course, I have to give a shout out to Ashley Eckstein, who did such a great job voicing her. And I will be honest, you know, it took me a little bit to kind of get used to the new voice of, and of course the new face of, Rosario Dawson. She does embody Ahsoka very well. She looks the part, the makeup, all that sort of stuff looks great. I'm surprised the little things, her hair thing weren't as long, but again, I will miss Ashley in the role. I hope we get maybe more animated stuff with Ahsoka later down the road. We'll see about that. I know there's a Rebels spin-off, a Rebels sequel spin-off kind of rumored in the mill. And I know there's also a heavily implied Ahsoka show eventually coming down the road, which we'll talk about a little bit, since there seems to be a lot of backdoor pilots throughout the Mandalorian Season 2, fleshing out what shows we could possibly get. But even moving across this, of course, again, it opens up in a great manner, seeing just Ahsoka wield her dual lightsabers and just slaying ass. And again, greatly filmed. The cinematography in this episode is exquisite, and I think Dave Filoni does such an excellent job directing, and also the writing for this was pretty great, because for me, I love Dave Filoni. I think this guy gets Star Wars in and out, but when it comes to the first episode, or the first season of The Mandalorian, where he directed one of the episodes, that was sadly the weakest episode for me. I didn't entirely love that episode. I thought it was fun, but again, had a lot more issues, and I was happy to see that this probably is the best episode that I've seen yet. It's a more subtle episode that definitely deals with a lot more of what is going on within this story, and again, it's still following the same exact thing. Go to this planet, do this, maybe do a little bit of a side mission here, and then I'm going to send you to your next destination. That's definitely what this season has been mostly about. But I get that. I like that. And I like being able to venture about with the Mandalorian and, of course, the child Grogu, which I actually really like that name. Again, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but we'll talk about that. Of course, the Mandalorian finally arrives at this planet. He goes into town, and, you know, the town, it looks like it has a cool atmosphere to it. I get old showdown stuff from it, say from the good, the bad, and the ugly. Maybe that's what they were going for. I assume so. This is very much a space fantasy western, which I'm all for. And of course, he goes through, and this magistrate pretty much says, I want you to kill the Jedi for me, and you get the Spear of Beskar. And, you know, we all know he's like, okay, where's the Jedi? I'll go find her. But we all know he's just going to betray her. Heads out on his way, goes out, searches for her. They have this cool little fight scene in between. Then he goes, Ahsoka Tano, Bo-Katan sent me. Which, again, we love Bo-Katan. When she showed up, again, I flipped out. And then she also mentioned Ahsoka's name. And, you know, it's all just coming together. And I just love being a Star Wars geek and seeing it all finally just the cartoons are finally coming. The animation's finally coming to live action. I hope I'm not the only one feeling this way. Like, I feel like I'm on cloud nine. Like, I am literally like a Star Wars fanatic who is just absolutely in love with everything we are truly getting right now. And God, we're just so lucky. We are so lucky. But again, we move forward a little more inside this episode, and they have this great conversation. She goes, I hope you're talking about coming to me because of that kid. And then they have this kind of like meditation thing where they're talking and communicating. Again, this is where we find out his name is Grogu, which I kind of like that name. I like it. A lot of people were, there's rumors or theories, I guess, that he could maybe be a clone of Yoda. Maybe he's a Yoda's offspring. Doesn't seem like it is Yoda's offspring, nor does it seem like he's a clone. He's his own entire species, which he was actually being trained on Coruscant at the Jedi Temple until someone hid him away. Who hid him away? My guess is going to be Yoda. He doesn't remember because it becomes all fuzzy for him. But that's going to be interesting to see who did hide him away. Which Jedi was it? Is it someone that we know? Is it someone that we don't? Maybe we will find out later this season. That's going to be a big thing. I'm actually going to call it out right now. I think we find it out as a cliffhanger at the end of the season when many things start happening. But let's keep moving forward with Ahsoka Tano finding this out. Grogu, we find out the whole Coruscant stuff. That was interesting to find out that he was being trained there. And of course, once Order 66 happened, which again, we all know that devastating moment. Very, very passionate stuff in there. And again, I really, really adored that whole conversation and getting to kind of know a little bit more about Grogu himself. I can't stop saying it. I love the name. But, let me know down below. Do you guys like the name? Did you not? Are you still going to call him Baby Yoda? I probably still will as well. But we move forward, and we also, she names drops Yoda. I've only known one other person as this species, Yoda. And I'm like, yes! You keep dropping the hints, and I love it. Like, please, Ahsoka, when she's bringing up Clone Wars, I felt a little bit, like, reminiscing of, especially from earlier this year when we got to see the final 4 episodes of Clone Wars with her final arc in that. And it was beautiful. It was touching, and it was amazing. And we didn't get Rex or Sabine or anyone else from the Rebels crew in here, just Ahsoka purely. And from what I understand, this is going to be the only episode we get of Ahsoka this season. I kind of been a little bit sad about that, but again, I'm glad that they're still focusing just on the Mandalorian, which again, they make this deal. She goes, I can't train the kid. They do some good interaction. She can clearly see that this kid is very much attached to Jin. And the thing I really like about this is, of course, it brings back that like lone wolf style, but he is pretty much this kid's father. This kid looks up to him. But I love that the whole sequence with the ball kind of flowing it back and forth, but also in that necessary sequence, she describes why she doesn't want to train him. She is pretty much talking about Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker, what happened to him. And that was, again, a great nod to kind of just for us fans to understand. Moving forward, though, they come up with this plan. You help me save the town, you train the baby. Okay, they start moving forward, they go into the town, there's a great assault sequence, Ahsoka's just slaying, especially, again, that cinematography adds to this. The score from Ludwig is incredible. She's flipping, she's slaying up there, she destroys that bell, which, again, that was a great shot when she slit the bell in half, and of course, you can probably tell she cut that guy in half, and of course, the assassin droids come out, the magistrate comes out, Michael Biehn, I think that was him, finally comes out as his old commando bounty hunter as well, gun for hire. They're all going after her. She's just killing them. The Mando pops in. He betrays her, and thank God she did. And then we get a great showdown between the magistrate and Ahsoka. And of course, that great showdown as well, again, reminding me of that Old West kind of films that you used to watch between the commando, whatever you want to call him, the gun hire, and of course Mando kind of staring down each other. They save the prisoners. They're going all about it. It's getting intense. And I like their conversation where he's like, oh, well, let's see who wins. And you're hearing them fight. And I thought that was a great editing style with cutting back and forth. I thought that was very brilliant to see how they were able to really do that. But that was intense, too, because Ahsoka's lightsaber goes in the water. I'm like, oh, God, could she actually get pretty injured by this? Would she kill her off? I don't think Dave Filoni would do that. But again, the fact that it actually got me there to where I was intense, and especially since we know that she is dead by the sequel trilogy due to the Rise of Skywalker, that is also interesting as well to know where that kind of could play out in the B. Maybe we'll find out where eventually she does pass away on. I still have the kind of this theory that maybe Kylo Ren is the one that actually kills her. I hope not, but I guess we'll find out soon. Maybe not soon, but maybe in a couple years or so. But again, that fight scene was greatly choreographed. And of course, when it comes down to the end, she goes, she's saying, I want to know who your master is. I want to know who your master is. And I was sitting there playing like, who could be her master possibly? Because I know Jamie Lee Curtis is casted in The Mandalorian somewhere, and we haven't seen her yet. I'm like, is she going to be it? Is that going to be her? No. Grand Admiral Thrawn, guys. Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, for people who don't know who Grand Admiral Thrawn is, he's one of the best Star Wars villains ever. So does this mean we're getting a live action? Will we get Michael Fassbender as Grand Admiral Thrawn or Benedict Cumberbatch? Because those are like kind of the two big fan casting I would love. God, we'll definitely find out. But that was a big name drop that, again, I screamed to the heavens. And I was like, oh my God, Grand Admiral Thrawn got name dropped. But of course, they save the town. They do all this great stuff. Ahsoka says, okay, here's the spear. You have it. It deserves to be with the Mandalorian. He's kind of trying to be like, oh, I didn't end up my deal. No, you keep it. He goes out, I'll get the kid, I'll bring him back. And it was such an adorable moment seeing him sleep and just the sadness in that scene. I'm like, I don't want you to leave the baby. The baby's attached to you. They have this great conversation back and forth with each other. And of course, Ahsoka herself, she comes back to the ship and says, I can't train him. And again, goes into the same detailing of like, he is attached to you, but Grogu needs to choose what he wants to do. Take him to this Jedi temple and pretty much set him on the Seeing Stone, and he will be able to reach out to the Force. If a Jedi hears it and this is truly what he wants, a Jedi will come search for him. Even though there's not that many, there's some still out there. Which again, as of right now, we know Luke and Ahsoka, which is also something I kept thinking. I'm like, but Ahsoka doesn't reference herself as a Jedi. So where does that come? There's still that little play between Rebels and now that I'm very curious on to see and that I really need to see. And will we get it in live action? Will we get it in animation? I have no idea. This is my one thing that I will say as a nitpick to this whole entire season, that does it feel very much like we're introducing characters for the sake of a spinoff. They showed us Boba Fett at the end of the first episode. Haven't seen him since. And now there's a rumor there's a Boba Fett spinoff in production. Then you also have, there's a Bo-Katan spinoff out there. There's a Cara Dune spinoff also going about. And now looking at it, Ahsoka, which is probably my only nitpick now looking at this because I'm feeling the same repetitive nature of each and every episode. Again, this is a small nitpick, but it's something that I do want to address because I think some of you guys will have issues with it, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Is this getting in the way of your guys' enjoyment? Is it bothering you at all? Do you feel the same way that I feel? Let me know down below in the comment section. Of course, the episode ends though. He flies off. Ahsoka walks off in the dust, and I'm sad because, again, I want more Ahsoka. Ahsoka's my favorite Star Wars character of all time. I just love her to death. I got my Funko Pop, I got the Trooper, I got the 2 Black Series. I'm just a big fan of her. I think she's such an interesting character, and I love where they've been able to take her. And I want to fill in those gaps. I want to see her whole entire journey. And if it's up to Dave Filoni, I know we will find out her whole entire journey. But that's where this episode ends. No Moff Gideon this week. Nothing of that nature, just a heavy episode on Ahsoka that, again, was very much more subtle than I anticipated. It was much more slower, but I kind of dug that. I like that it took its time getting to the action. I like when The Mandalorian takes its time in those nature, because this actually felt like a short film from Star Wars. Just like the first episode did as well, where the other episodes in between were a little bit faster paced and very fast edited and really got down to the point and didn't take its time with its characters. This episode did. And again, I got reminiscence of Empire Strikes Back. And this really much just built up again. We know kind of the formula now where The Mandalorian's going. It's going to be interesting to see where next week takes us. Hopefully we don't just have another filler episode, or quote-unquote filler episode in between being like, okay, we gotta go here, then we can go to that planet. I hope we do just get to that straight-up planet, and then maybe Moff Gideon pops up as well. Very interesting stuff to hear, guys. I need to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section about this season, of course, and in general, this episode. What were your guys' thoughts on Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka? I overall dug her. I know there's some behind-the-scenes stuff that people don't love about Rosario Dawson, but again, I need to see a little bit more of her. I dug her. I thought she looked the role. I thought she did a great job of feeling Ahsoka. I saw her. I looked at her. I said, that is Ahsoka. The way she talks, feels. She feels like Ahsoka. That is literally Ahsoka. It's just a little bit weird not hearing Ashley's voice in those scenes. And I still wonder why they didn't just do with her. We got Bo-Katan, and Katie Sackhoff also came back to play her. So why not her? I'm just curious on that, guys. This is a great show. I want to hear all your guys' theories down below, guys. But of course, this is the way. May the Force be with all you guys. Hit that like and subscribe so we can keep talking The Mandalorian every single week. And of course, until next time, stay classy.